What is going on, guys? Ultimate Deadpool here, back with another video. This has been very much requested today, since I put that poll up this morning, of you guys wanting to see the not the entire, but the Lego Spider-Man movie cast. 3 of the characters' heads are off, and that is so that way I avoid spoilers. But they will obviously be revealed later in this video. But I just want to go ahead and keep them off. So if you guys want to see who those characters are, stick around to the end of the video to find out who they are, and we'll go ahead and just jump right into things. Alrighty, so first up we got Peter Parker, as can be told by the spiked hair, camera, and younger face. He has a very simple design. I believe this is actually Vern from the live-action Michael Bay Ninja Turtle movies. I could be wrong. They're just basic black pants. I believe he's got Marty McFly's face and a Spider-Man-esque hairpiece. I was going to use the hairpiece that they use for Bruce Banner, or not Bruce Banner, that I used for Matt Murdock, but I then quickly realized I didn't have an extra version of that piece, so I decided against it. And this one works just as well. So, next character. Alright, so before we continue to go, I cannot stress this enough. When this movie does come out, there are going to be references everywhere to previous Spider-Man films. There's going to be references to, Sam Raimi's Tobey Maguire Spider-Man trilogy. There's going to be references to Andrew Garfield's Spider-Man films. There's going to be references to Tom Holland's Spider-Man films. So there's going to be references throughout the entire movie. So stick around for that whenever the movie's finally being released. Now, I have changed this character prior to this video. Last time you guys saw him, he had blue arms instead of red arms. And this is the homemade suit that my Spider-Man is going to wear to test his powers and whatnot against a later character you'll see in this video. This is the wrestling attire inspired suit, essentially. The mask is very inspired by the Balaclava Spider-Man minifigure from the first Spider-Man movie that came out in 2002. The torso design is just a basic jacket with 2 different Spider-Man emblems put over each other to make it look like it was spray painted. I realize it does not look like that. And then he's got dual molded red and blue legs. I believe those came off of Wally West. I could be wrong. But next character. Okay, one of the things that my Spider-Man is going to be doing differently is he's going to upgrade his suit throughout the film. It'll make sense when the actual movie happens, but just know this is going to be his first suit. Fairly basic, fairly complicated. The main reason I chose this particular suit as his first, I guess you could say, official superhero suit is for 2 reasons. One, he's got flesh-colored hands. And it's basically Spider-Man's trying to figure out how can I use my wall crawling abilities with gloves. And then the other one, the other minor detail, he's got a belt on for his web fluid. Because this Spider-Man will be using web fluid, he will not be using the organic webs. So that's another thing that he's going to try to have to figure out. Okay, how can I keep this with me on at all times, but not exposed and visible? So, that's pretty much it. I mean, it's just a standard Moon Knight body modified, with modified Ant-Man arms, and a regular Lego Spider-Man head. And like I said, this is going to be his, I guess you could say, Mark 1 or Mark 2 suit. So he's going to be learning how to officially become Spider-Man. Like have his wall climbing abilities to where he can stick to walls with gloves on, have his costume flow seamlessly without having all these pouches and stuff hanging out. So it's going to be kind of like a learning story almost. So let's keep going. Okay, this suit is what he's going to be wearing most of the movie. Towards the end, he'll get another suit. That's not really spoilers because I already have the minifigure here, and there's no point in waiting until the end of the movie to reveal it. So this is the suit he is going to be wearing most of the film. So he's not going to be changing suits every single scene. but he will have a different, he'll have a minimum of 4 suits. Technically, in this movie, he'll have, obviously the wrestling attire. He'll have the, I guess, prototype hero suit, and then the main hero suit, and then the upgraded hero suit later. So a little bit of a that's kind of almost paying homage in a way to Andrew Garfield's Amazing Spider-Man 1, because, and if you guys recall, in that movie, when he started looking for the killer of Uncle Ben, he wore basically everyday clothes, and then eventually put on a mask, and then eventually put on, his standard Spider-Man costume. So he does. It's going to be kind of taking inspiration from that. There is one scene that is going to be playing heavily from Amazing Spider-Man. So for those of you who are Andrew Garfield fans, I hope you won't hate me when I actually do that, because I'm hoping the effect works really, really well. But anyway, this is a basic Spider-Man design. I want to say I modeled the design after Spectacular Spider-Man. I don't remember entirely where I designed this suit from. But the front and back printing are entirely custom made by hand. It was not fun to do. The arms are, I think, modified Andrew Garfield arms, and the boots I designed myself. And then the face is a Spectacular Spider-Man mask. On to the next, I guess, Spider-Man, and then we'll go on to the quote-unquote villains and side characters that are going to play bigger parts in the film. There are going to be other characters, but you'll see why when we get to the other characters. Alright, so here as the final suit that he'll have, at least for this movie. If this movie does well enough and it gets a sequel, or I decide to make a sequel for it, he'll obviously use this suit throughout the majority of that one, if not all of that one. So this has a inspiration from everything. This has the higher water boots from Tom Holland's Spider-Man suit, because for those of you who may not know, his original homemade suit, the red boots went a little bit higher than some of the other Spider-Man suits beforehand. He's got a very basic, this character's got a very basic front and back printing. I believe it is a modified Andrew Garfield Spider-Man 1 suit. The blue was a little bit lighter, and then it did not have the connecting belt. I went ahead and connected the belt and put a belt behind it. I outlined the backs, the back red spider with a black outline. It's a little hard to see on camera. And then he's got a traditional Spider-Man face, but like Tobey Maguire's Spider-Man suit, the lenses around the big bug eyes are actually silver. Well, in this they're grayish, but I couldn't do silver. But that's what it's supposed to represent. So this is kind of like a combination of every single Spider-Man that's ever come out. And then his arms are just modified Ant-Man arms. So this is going to be, I guess, his final, I've finally become Spider-Man type suit. And I designed this suit to basically be paying homage to every single incarnation of Spider-Man, at least in live action form. So hopefully you guys will agree with me. I tried to do my best to make a original suit while also keeping some things the same. So on to the, I guess you could say, villain / side characters. And I guess you could say this guy's the first real quote-unquote challenge for Spider-Man in this movie. This is obviously Bonesaw, if you couldn't tell by his torso printing. For those of you who don't know who Bonesaw is, he was the wrestler the name of the wrestler in the first Sam Raimi Spider-Man movie, played by Randy Savage, rest in peace. And he was a really bizarre character. I think the original comic books was a little bit different, but I do know that he tests out his powers with a wrestler in a match. So I didn't exactly have the crazy hair that Bonesaw had in that movie, and I wanted to do my own design because I couldn't really recreate the one that Sam Raimi did. So I literally just took a basic generic bone and a bloody saw and put them over each other to form essentially an X, and then I just took a muscle printing and just modified it to where it had, the standard wrestling tights and stuff that they use. And he's got muscle arms, black hands, a recolored Hulk face. Oddly enough, that is not a minifigure face. That is actually Hulk's face recolored to look peach. And then he has the new Harry Potter hairpiece. It was honestly the closest thing I could find to the Bonesaw McGraw's face or hair without actually getting the exact hairpiece that he had, because I don't think that hairpiece actually exists. But anyway, this is Bonesaw McGraw from Sam Raimi's Spider-Man 1, paying homage in that way for my Spider-Man movie. So on to the next character. Okay, so I'm going to kind of skip around for a second. This is Harry Osborn, because Harry Osborn will be a character in this movie. Now, he has no excessive printing whatsoever. This is 100% an official Lego character to a point. It was made of official Lego pieces. I believe the hairpiece is new Ron Weasley. I'm not entirely sure what the face is. The torso had a plaid printing on it, but I didn't want him to wear plaid, so I cut it, or took it off. But he's got the blue shirt underneath, a Han Solo denim belt buckle, and then blue legs. So nothing extravagant. Harry's not going to play that big of a part in the movie, but he is going to be in the movie. So that's pretty much it. I mean, he's going to be basically the friend of the movie because, obvious reasons. So let's go ahead and go on to the actual villains of the movie. Okay, one thing to note about this is not going to be the official villain of this first movie. This is Norman Osborn, aka Green Goblin. Well, he will become Green Goblin eventually, but not in this movie. So I'm saving Green Goblin for a sequel. That is one thing I did not want to do when I decided to make a Spider-Man origin story. I did not want to have Green Goblin be the first villain. I wanted him to be something that he fights later, after he's kind of built a little bit more confidence. So that way, whenever Goblin would kick his ass, he actually feels like, damn, I need to freaking figure out how to stop this guy. Not, oh yeah, I can do this because I can type thing. Like, or this is my first time, this is the first villain, let's go type thing. So, not saying that Sam Raimi was wrong to put Green Goblin as the first villain. I love William Dafoe's Green Goblin in that movie and in No Way Home. But I personally am not going to make Norman Osborn be the main villain of this first movie. Now, he will be a villain-like character, very similar to how he was in both the Ultimate Spider-Man TV show as well as Spectacular Spider-Man, where he was definitely a villain-like character, but more like calling the shots type villain. So that's kind of where, and it'll make sense when I reveal the next two villains, because the main villain is going to be one character, but there's also going to be a secondary villain that only shows up basically to, I guess, pass along information from Norman. So keep that in mind. So hopefully it makes sense, and let's go ahead and go on to the first secondary villain. Alright, so if this isn't as obvious as it can be, let me spell it out. This is Tombstone from Spider-Man Comics. I believe he also appeared in Daredevil. I could be wrong. But I know the next character, I believe, appeared in Daredevil stuff as well. But I'm not too familiar with Tombstone as a character. I know he fell in some kind of toxic chemical that turned his skin white and serrated his teeth or something, and then he's essentially a mob boss that I believe works with Norman Osborn, or Norman Osborn works with, I don't know how that is. So please somebody tell me down in the comments below. I don't want to do the character Tombstone wrong. So the one on the stand is actually how he appeared in the comic books. I tried to recreate the comic book look for Tombstone as best as I could, based off Marvel Legend figures as well as still arts from the actual comic books themselves. Now, he does have a second alternative body in the classic suit and tie, just like he does in pretty much every single version of Tombstone I've ever seen. But he will have his traditional comic book look for at least a little bit. And then he'll have his suit and tie later on. So, without further ado, let's finally get into the last villain, which is going to be the main villain of this first movie. And I still have yet to see this happen in an actual Spider-Man movie, so Sony, Marvel, whatever, listen up. We want this character, well, at least I want this character. Put him in a movie. So, without further ado, let's go ahead and reveal this guy. Okay, so for those of you who don't know, I play Lego, the Spider-Man Shattered Dimensions video game. This is a villain from that. And he's by far one of the funniest and hardest bosses to get through half the time. At least when I was younger, he was hard to get through. But nowadays, it's actually very easy for me to get to him. And that is because of how much of a pain in the ass he is to fight. We have Hammerhead. I've always wanted to see Hammerhead in a Spider-Man movie. I remember he does make appearances in Spectacular Spider-Man. I don't think he really appeared in the Ultimate Spider-Man show. Because, again, Hammerhead's one of those characters who's not really well known anymore in Spider-Man comic books. And I used the Frankenstein headpiece because that's how Marvel portrayed him in the Lego Marvel superhero games. I believe you can unlock Hammerhead in that. And he does have a Frankenstein headpiece to match his weirdly shaped head from the comic books. I gave him 2 different guns. I know the one on the left is a machine gun. I don't know what the hell the other one is, and his right hand is. He's got a standard businessman suit with the stripes. I wanted him to look more like a mob boss, kind of like what he does look like or a gangster in the Spectacular Spider-Man, as well as the Spider-Man Shattered Dimensions game. So that's kind of where overall look for him kind of came through. Plus, it also looks exactly like he did in the comic books as well, at least through my eyes. But let me know what you guys think of this. Hammerhead is obviously going to be the main villain of this first movie. I figure that's totally perfect because that's low level crime. It's basically a mob boss. Spider-Man is going to be going after the mob as his first, official year as Spider-Man, or first official however many months as Spider-Man. So, to me, that totally makes sense and has, actual, I guess, it makes sense to me. That's about all I can explain it as. It makes sense to me to have Hammerhead be a lower level villain versus having, go all the way up to like Dr. Octopus or the Lizard or, Kraven the Hunter or something like that. You want to start, for me, I want to start off small. And that's kind of where Hammerhead is going to come into place. So, I know I've been teasing this character for a while, or, teasing these characters for a while. I hope it was worth it. For those of you who stuck around to the end of this video, please, I do appreciate that. For those of you who skipped to the end of this video to see who they were, thanks for seeing who they were, and I will hopefully do these characters justice. Again, I don't know a whole lot about Hammerhead, but I do know that he is some form of like mob boss that I believe works for Norman Osborn. If I'm not mistaken, I think that's how he was portrayed in the Spectacular Spider-Man show. So that's again one of those things that I'm trying to pay homage to a little bit of everything from Spider-Man, at least the stuff that I've seen. So don't expect anything from the 60s. Don't expect anything from Japan. Don't expect anything like that. Just live action and a handful of TV shows. But I want to try to pay homage to almost everything Spider-Man related. That's why I cannot stress enough the Easter eggs and references that are going to be in this movie. Some of which are going to be more obvious than others. Some of which are not. But I will promise you, I will do my best to include as many Easter eggs and hidden references as I can to past Spider-Man shows and movies. So, that's pretty much it for this video. Thank you guys so much for watching, for those of you who watched, and I will catch you guys all next time on Ultimate Deadpool. Peace out, you guys are awesome, and I'll catch you guys all later. Bye.